But I'm talking about Trump. Let's talk about his cousin, good old Boris Johnson.
Oh, he's his best friend.
Yeah, his best friend, or he's somewhat related.
He's
I
UK
reckon.
doppelganger. Like, yeah.
Yeah, distant third cousin.
They have similar hair.
Yeah, 100%. The wind blows at, I don't know. Like,
well, rumor was he was saying that he was. Oh, my brain just stopped. He was saying that he was struggling a lot, and they had to use extreme amounts of ventilation and ventilators and stuff like that to keep him alive and secure him. But the reports initially were he's fine, he's just feeling under the weather, he's just went into ICU to be checked on. So already lies were coming out just on that fact that he almost died.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Today they said the doctors were going to announce that he was pretty much had a 50-50 chance of living, and he was pretty much close to his deathbed. As soon as I read that, the first thing I just thought was this is a political decoy as opposed to one of the
distraction.
No, legit. That's legit what I thought. Because why? Is that because the UK is one of the countries that have been the slowest to react in this whole COVID thing. And here's the thing, though. So if we dissect South Africa right now, we say, okay, now it's getting to the stage where people are complaining about the whole quarantine situation and
Africa in general, not just South Africa.
Okay, but I'm just seeing like the comments that Gareth Cliff has made and the raw uproar on Twitter about what's going on and locally. But you got Ramaphosa. He's come out, ANC, not ANC. He's come out. He's taken the advice of other people and he's made a decision. Now, at that time of making a decision, right or wrong, a decision always has to be made. And in good leadership, whether it is the best decision, a decision still has to be made. And that is good leadership regardless, right? Yeah. And in the case of the UK, they just didn't get around to that. And now it turns out, and they've actually made their situations worse because they've had a lot more factions, obviously, to deal with from the private sector and the Premier League. And so to say, listen, we're going to go in a countrywide lockdown is a lot harder for them than it is for us, even though our economy is taking a larger hit than what theirs is. I just think like this was a ploy by Boris Johnson to now say, okay, he's bought himself some time. Guys, don't be so harsh on me because I was nearly dead and now I can make some decisions, even though he's slept on it for like the last month and a half or 2 months, rather.
Yeah, no, it's it's a weird one. Like with President Ramaphosa, like you said, no matter what decision he was going to make, not that he makes the final decision. It's it's the committee, the group of them that ultimately come together. He's the one that has to break the news, but ultimately, no matter what was going to happen, he was going to be in the good books of some and bad books of the other. That comes with the territory of making a decision such as this, or in general as a president. In terms of what you're saying between us and the UK, or America, or even Italy for that matter, we've been very fortunate in the sense that we don't have mass impact sick-wise. We have about 5,000 cases at the moment. I don't know how many deaths. Probably about 100 and something deaths by now. And it's nothing crazy, but economically, we can't stand the lockdown. We can't extend it anymore, where Europe can, because they've got that financial backing already in the excess.
And the platforms. They've also got the platforms for people to be able to work from home, and people are a lot more literate and.
Yeah, and then look at the States as an example. They have 33 million people signing for unemployment, and it hasn't really knocked the dollar as an example. It hasn't really knocked their economy because the world already knows that once they get going, they've got enough to build back up quickly, where we don't. So I would say the president's decision for the lockdown was early enough in a sense. Obviously, yes, we have infected, but early enough and a good decision. And the process of what they're doing, of how they're easing the lockdown, as much as it may upset people and people are complaining it's taking too long, businesses need to open, they're doing the right thing. The unfortunate part is it's not going to stop the spread. That's something that's going to happen, especially because of the 2-week delay of you realizing you're actually sick. The UK took too long to respond. And if you look at how we live compared to the UK, we are far more spread out. Just in general, never mind apartments, just land itself. Most of the UK is squished chaos, and like New York, with an issue New York had. And they were definitely late to react, and I think the Boris Johnson and them have not come forward and just said, look, we, not to say we made a stuff up, like, oh, we ruined everything, just to say we could have acted sooner. We could have done this a bit better. And they're avoiding that fact, and they're trying to still make it seem as if they're on a good path, which ultimately you're not, just based on how the whole country's still in lockdown and responding.
Yeah, and I think like generally with good leadership, and I'm focusing on the leadership part, transparency is key in most of these things.
Yeah.
And when you're not transparent, that's where you can cause riots, and people can. And one of the things Gareth Cliff said was quite interesting. Is he's like, "Yeah, remember, Mr. President, there are more people or civilians than you have in your army and in your political circles." Yeah, police force, and I was just like, okay, let's not be too dramatic. I understand the situation's not great for people right now, and also if you focus on Brazil, look at Brazil. They took a lot longer to get going, and now they're burying bodies in the thousands. Not hundreds.
Yeah.
We've had 124 people dead.
Is it 124? Okay. Yeah.
124. Yeah. So, I mean, at this stage, if this thing does get going, we're not prepared for it at all. Just like Brazil aren't prepared for it. Why? Because we are, like you said, we're in the third. Are we still junk status? I think we are.
Yeah, that's it was the worst timing. Pandemic, lockdown, junk status. Like, geez, Oaks, you couldn't wait till after this to put a rating down. The whole world has stopped working. Yeah, see.
But look, the US have also had an earthquake today in Los Angeles, so they're losing on all fronts in terms of murder hornets, earthquakes.
They've had tornadoes and tornadoes, and it's becoming hurricane season again.
Oh man!
So, yeah, no, they got. But
the land of the free.
Yeah, for anything to happen, yeah. The land of freedom acts of anything. But again, they have the economy and the backbone to be able to come back from it. We don't, in that sense. But no, I agree. The transparency is key, and as long as everyone just listens, even though the mortality rate is very low worldwide, I mean, it's less than 2% or something like that, the worldwide deaths to cases and stuff. Even though it's very low, and it seems very weird that the whole world's locked down for something that doesn't seem to be even as bad as Ebola or anything. Obviously, I'm not a doctor or scientist, so I'm just saying from what I've seen and read. Everyone just listens. Put your mask on, wear it when you're outside. When you touch something, wash your hands.
But I think that's the key, right? That's the key. Is not much has to change as long as we just start improving those little habits that we need to start enforcing in our daily lives, or daily routines rather. Is the washing of the hands, don't touch your face. I mean, for me personally, I shouldn't be touching my face, because when I do, I break out. I get a whole bunch of zits, as you can see. But it's one of those things. So for me, it's more than one thing in terms of not getting corona. It's also, don't get acne.
That's just whack hormones, bro. Yeah, you're 30. So the hormones have kicked in again, because now your sex drive's kicked in again. That's what happens. Men have men have like a 3 times sex drives kick in situation. So when you're a teenager,
I did not know that.
Huh?
I did not know the 3 times sex drive thing.
Yeah, as far as there's like 3 periods where it kind of like hits its peaks in a sense. Obviously puberty, for obvious reasons, and then your early 20s and your early 30s. It's
not too bad. It's not too bad that we only have 3, and some ladies have one once a month, so that's okay for us. But also,
I'm talking about hormone excitement, not periods and cramps and things like that.